Welcome to Barnstable Today. I'm Nick Cortez.
And I'm Kevin Friel. We'd like to remind you right at the top that the meetings we cover are available on demand at the town's website. You can log on at www.town.barnstable.ma.us.
Financing sewer expansion across Barnstable was again the focus of a town council workshop held last Thursday evening. This time, however, the CFAC's recommendations were put on the back burner, and a new financing option from Town Manager John Klim and Finance Director Mark Milne was unveiled.
The town manager's proposal differs from CFAC's recommendation in two major ways. It breaks down the $675 million sewer program into phases and deals with the first $265 million phase only. It also includes a $209 million program to repair private roads.
As for the specifics of how to come up with the funds to pay for it, Klim told the council that it's all about trying to create the fairest plan possible.
We all know that the costs associated with a project like this are significant and are going to have a major impact in the lives of the residents in the area. So we want to try to put forward something that is as fair as it can be. But at the same time, if we are to believe that this is a community issue, we need to be fair to our taxpayers and citizens as well. And so that is the multi-million-dollar question. What is that funding formula that is both fair to the property owner and to the general public at large? In looking at all of the alternatives, staff believes that a plan that considers no more than a 50% betterment might end up in the category of some fundamental fairness. I am one that believes and have believed that if there is a way, and I know that there's a lot of legal issues that we're still working through, but if there's a way to put a plan together that not only includes the basic costs of the system, but also major additional costs, for example, the cost of grinder pumps, that are going to be impacting some residents in an area impacted through no fault of their own, that should be considered to be wrapped up in the entire cost of the project and not overly burdening some folks through no fault of their own that happen to be located in an area of a sewering neighborhood that need additional equipment.
Speaking of fairness, Klim dispelled any notion that the town would seek to foreclose on a homeowner who could not pay and urged the council to take into consideration those who recently installed new septic systems.
Now, another issue that has been raised is that we're talking about such significant costs that there literally are going to be folks thrown out in the street. Now, I've been your town manager for 10 years, going on 11 years. And during that time, there have been many, many residents that, for a lot of reasons, have come upon very hard times. We have never, in the town of Barnstable, in the last 11 years, foreclosed on someone's home and kicked them out in the street. We never have any intention to, and I would recommend that the council, in their deliberations, state what their preference is on this issue. Obviously, a lien would be put on the property, and it would be dealt with that way. But I hope, and I think I can speak for every single counselor when I suggest that I don't know anybody in town service that is supportive of literally kicking someone out of their home. We also are taken by the thought that there are folks that have recently put in a new Title V system. And we also understand that this is a legal issue that needs to be sorted out as well. But to the extent that we can, we think that there should be some provision to defer some of the costs allowed for a reasonable period of time for those folks that have recently gone out and bought a new Title V system, as long as it's a working Title V system.
While the recommendation of 50% betterments answers half the question of how to fund the manager's proposal, the hope is that the other half would be answered by the entire town via approving a ballot question to raise property taxes. Here, Finance Director Mark Milne explains what, in the town's opinion, is the best way to do that: the creation of a sewer and roads stabilization or trust fund.
And it is an increase in the tax levy that continues to live until the trust, as long as the trust is in existence. And the town council can either modify the amount of the trust or even kill the trust at any year that they wanted to. And I'll talk a little bit more about how that works. The creation and limitations in the procedures of how a trust fund is, first, the creation. It can be created for any purpose, like what we're talking about tonight is a qualified purpose. It requires a 2/3 vote of the town council to place on the ballot. The vote must clearly define the purpose of the fund. So you're going to you would put a question before the voters that say something along these lines: shall the town of Barnstable be allowed to assess an additional X number of dollars in real estate and personal property taxes for the purpose of funding the fill-in-the-blank stabilization fund? This could be sewer and roads, private roads stabilization fund for the fiscal year beginning. And that requires a majority vote of the community to pass.
But what if a town-wide vote to create such a fund failed? That would still leave residents of the Stewart's Creek area looking at 100% betterment bills to pay for that project. Clem was adamant about putting that notion to rest, no matter what.
So the question comes up, well, how do we finance Stewart's Creek if we put together a plan and it includes a ballot question in November and it doesn't pass? Well, there are a variety of options, and I'll tell you which ones we don't like. We don't like fundamentally rating your reserves policy. It is not unforeseen, it is not an emergency, and it would absolutely impact the financial credibility of this town. So the only other options that we can think of is to take the millions of dollars necessary out of the operating budget. And in a very short few weeks, we'll be talking about a budget that we're presenting to you that already is going to have a significant amount of cuts. And the only other option is to give some consideration in the capital budget. We have a capital budget that we have presented to you. And there are projects in there, and the question remains whether or not we could defer some of those projects. As a matter of fact, it's been mentioned by some that we contemplate deferring or ending the public roads program. In the strongest way possible, not only do I think that would be foolhardy, but our public works staff and other staff do as well. And I can literally give you the names of the roads that are planned to be fixed or worked on over the coming year. But the financial consequences of stopping those 30 or 40 roads and then impacting the next 30 or 40 roads, putting it off, are substantial. And so, having said all of that, the only option that remains is to put off other projects that are either in this capital plan or commit not to, other than public roads, not to postpone the capital program for 2012 to 2013.
With plenty to consider, Town Council President Fred Chirigotis ordered a subcommittee of the council to be created to pick and choose among the numerous funding options presented over the past month.
Now, let's take a look at this week's meetings. Tuesday, March 30th at 3:30 in the afternoon, the Town Council press conference takes place in the Town Hall hearing room. At 6:30, the Conservation Commission meets in the Town Hall hearing room. There are no meetings on Wednesday, March 31st. On Thursday, April 1st at 7 o'clock, the Town Council meets in the Town Hall hearing room.
Well, that's all for now. For Kevin Friel, I'm Nick Cortez. We'll see you next time on Barnstable Today.